Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 260.
On Now You Know.
We're brought to you by our amazing Patreon patrons. Support creating independent news every week by heading over to patreon.com/nowyouknow, and there you'll find some pretty awesome perks.
And we're brought to you by BigBattery.com. No matter what you need to power, Big Battery can provide you with the latest battery tech at the best price per kilowatt hour, guaranteed. Their batteries are easily installed, require zero maintenance, and they're made right here in the U.S. Pick up yours today at BigBattery.com and use the code NOWYOUKNOW for 5% off at checkout. We'd like to thank Keeps for sponsoring this episode.
Keeps is a subscription service that makes it easier and more affordable for men to treat their male pattern baldness online.
Look, guys, there's no magic cure for baldness, but you can prevent hair loss from happening in the first place.
The best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have hair left.
With Keeps, a licensed doctor will review your information online and recommend the right hair loss treatment plan for you.
Then your daily supply of treatment is shipped right to your door every 3 months.
Keeps offers generic versions of the FDA-approved medications for hair loss, which makes it way more affordable.
Find out why Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors and why hundreds of thousands of men trust Keeps for their hair loss prevention.
If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/nowyouknow or click the link in the description to receive 50% off your first order.
That's KEEPS.com/nowyouknow.
Thank you for joining us for our 260th episode.
It has been 5 years of bringing you Tesla Time News every week for 5 years consecutively.
We have not missed a week.
And we want to continue to be here for you. So to start off the show, we are announcing a small scheduling change.
Yeah, we pride ourselves on bringing you our awesome EV sustainable community, independent news every week. But speaking of sustainable, we have to make this show sustainable.
We have been writing and recording this show every weekend for 5 years straight.
That's right. Jesse and I have not really had a weekend off in 5 years.
Right. I mean, you're watching this show probably on Monday, which is when we released it. But we have been busy working on this show on Saturday and Sunday, gathering the stories, doing the research, writing, the filming, and then editing it together so that way you can be watching it right now.
So to make our lives just a little better so that we can take Saturdays off and actually do things with friends and family who also have Saturdays off, we are moving Tesla Time News back to Tuesdays.
That's right. We started 5 years ago by releasing Tesla Time News on Tuesdays, and we even did In Depth on Monday. That was because our editors weren't as experienced as they are now. Brent and Bobby, thank you so much for being here with us. They have edited every single episode. So give them a hand down in the comments. We are still going to be bringing you just as up-to-date news as we possibly can. We're going to be recording them on Monday as opposed to Sunday. So you're not going to be like, there's not going to be some missed day or anything like that. It's just that the Tesla Time News will come out on Tuesday.
Yep. So clear your Tuesday schedule. We're now moving back to Tuesdays for completely selfish reasons. We need to get our Saturdays back.
And again, it's because I used to work. I had a full-time job, so it was like, well, we need to make this show, and it takes 2 days.
Yeah, that's a good point. You were working Monday through Friday, and then Saturday through Sunday working on the show. Right. So, yeah, now we're actually going to be able to take the same day off every week, which is nice.
It'll be very relaxing. We've never done it before.
Right.
It's just...
We may hate it.
We might hate it. We might move back. I don't think we will. But thank you so much for watching with us for the first 5 years of Tesla Time News.
Let's get going on our next 5. All right, this came out last week. A Model Y in what appears to be GigaTexas.
This was an Instagram picture. It was brought up on Twitter.
It appears to be taken by like a factory worker at Gigafactory, Texas. Now, lots of conjecture going around the internet, and I think we should just walk through how my decision tree works in my head. Maybe you have a similar one. First question I always ask on a news story like this is the photo a fake?
Well, no. I mean, it's definitely a Model Y. It's definitely in that environment. I don't think that this is CGI. I think that it is what it appears to be. But what does it appear to be?
Right. Is this a Model Y at GigaTexas? Could this be at Giga Shanghai, for example?
Now, I don't see any Chinese characters anywhere. There aren't too many differentiations between a Model Y that was made in the States versus in China, so that's not really going to give us any clues. If you zoom way in on the left, I think you'll see something that says like no lifting or no lift or something. That might give us a clue that it could be in the States, but yeah, I mean, is it definitely GigaTexas? I don't know. I'd give it maybe 70%.
Yeah, so far on my decision tree, I don't think it's a fake. I do think it's at GigaTexas. So that brings up the next question. Is this a Model Y that was just built at GigaTexas, or is this some guy's Model Y or Tesla's Model Y that they brought in from, say, Fremont?
Right, because, I mean, there are black Model Ys in the world, and you can drive to the Giga factory. Could you have just driven it inside, snapped a picture, and driven away? I know that there's security and stuff, but...
Key thing here, I think, is that there's another Model Y behind it on the machine. So I don't think this was just like one of the guys' Model Ys. I think this was actually brought in by Tesla, a bunch of Model Ys, probably a truckload, to start figuring out things in the factory, to start training workers, to make sure that the fitment and the machines were going to work properly. And so that's my guess. So in terms of, was this built at GigaTexas? I don't think so, because that would involve a whole bunch of suppliers and a whole bunch of parts. And you could argue maybe they brought in individual parts from Fremont or someplace. I don't think so. I think this is a pre-made car brought into GigaTexas so that they can train people and make sure that they can run the lines and so forth. That's my guess. And then the last question is this something that Tesla wanted us to see? So it's a Tesla taken photo, or is it really just a photo snapped by one of the workers walking by?
Right. Now, if you take a deeper look at it, I think that this is coming from a cell phone. It doesn't have that much depth of field. It's also not that in focus. It's a little bit grainy, and it was taken in portrait. It leans me towards it was taken with a cell phone.
Yeah, I mean, if Tesla was taking this photo, they would have put the car in perfect focus, I believe.
But if you wanted to make it look leaked, that's how you make it look leaked.
Yeah.
It was up on Instagram. It then got taken down. So we don't know if it was an employee who got in trouble.
Yeah.
Or if it was just intentionally leaked by Tesla.
I think it's good news no matter what. I think it shows that there's probably pre-made Model Ys in Gigafactory, which means they're ramping up, getting ready, because we've been watching the factory being built from the outside, but that you kind of forget that there's all this stuff going on inside, and the factory looks like a factory.
Right. It's funny how critical it is that there was that Model Y in the background to really cement that, yeah, they're probably doing stuff.
And speaking of factories, let's go to Tesla's Gigafactory in Shanghai, where a new video released on Tesla's Weibo account shows never-seen-before footage of just about every aspect of Giga Shanghai factory producing Model 3s and Ys. And now, as we're watching this, which is really cool, by the way, because we're seeing just about every step in the manufacture, from the stamping to the batteries to the motors. Right. We're also getting this from Tesla, translated from Chinese. We have a strict quality control and attitude. And I want to take a look at this picture here of what appears to be 2170s going into the cars. Those are huge batteries. I don't know if I have the perspective wrong, but I didn't realize how huge they are compared to 18650s.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I've gotten a bit used to, how big an 18650 is. But yeah, the 2170s are pretty massive.
And then these
those
are even bigger. Yeah. Elon tweeted out, Tesla China rocks. All right, so the Earl of Frunk Puppy said, version 9.2 performing great despite Elon's claims. This is a 22-minute drive, no interventions as usual.
Elon says it's amazing by most standards, but we're aiming for 1,000% safer than the average human driver.
So just to put that in another number, that's 11 times safer.
It's not 10 times safer?
No, that's the dumb thing about percentages. If something is 100% bigger, it's twice as big. If it's 200% bigger, it's 3 times as big, and so forth. So it's 11 times safer than a human driver. That's what he's aiming for. And then Hallmark's catalog said, Sandy Munro to Ford's Blues Clues manager, you've got to try full self-driving beta.
So instead of Blue Cruise.
Right.
Blues Clues, because Blue Cruise just sounds like you have an accent or something.
And we're going to be covering Sandy's rant, which I don't know if you've seen the video yet, but you got to see this. We're going to be covering it on Patreon bonus stories this week, so go check that out. Elon continued, full self-driving beta 9.2 is actually not great, in my opinion, but Autopilot AI team is rallying to improve as fast as possible. We're trying to have a single stack for both highway and city streets, but it requires massive neural net retraining.
Elon said, just drove full self-driving beta 9.3 from Pasadena to LAX, much improved. Now, I kind of wish that he wouldn't say stuff like it's not great, because there's 1,000 new, headlines that's Tesla CEO Elon Musk says their full self-driving system is, quote, not great. And it's That's not what he's saying. He's saying the current ones. It's like, sometimes I wish that he wouldn't say things, but then it's like, but that's who he is.
Right.
And that's how Tesla is. And no crappy, The Drive article is going to change that.
That's what we love about Elon. We love that he's always pushing forward. Whatever he just accomplished, he's just going to one-up himself. And so he does think it's crappy, even though it's not. Whole Mars Catalog said San Francisco, Chinatown to Coit Tower on full self-driving beta 9.2 with just cameras. Yeah, it's not great. It's fucking incredible.
Elon said beta 10 will be next level.
And he went on to say, we should be there with beta 10, which goes out a week from Friday. No point release this week. It will have a completely retrained neural net, so we'll need another few weeks after that for tuning and bug fixes. Best guess is public beta button in about 4 weeks. So let's translate.
So Elon has said previously that a new version of FSD should be released about every 2 weeks on Fridays. So if we follow that logic, it seems like what would have been 9.3 will become version 10, which should go out to beta testers this Friday. And then
10.1 should be released to the public, the button, possibly September 24th. And yes, this would be only in the US for now. Mm-hmm. I am super excited because I kind of thought from earlier chat on Twitter that this would be like December. This would be like a Christmas present. This now seems like a fall present. Now, this is Elon speaking. Weeks could turn into months, but it does appear that that's possible, that we could get the button, full self-driving 10.1 this fall.
If that were to happen, that would be really, really remarkable because up until this point, every single full self-driving system is controlled. It's small. I really appreciate the beta testers that are putting out YouTube videos and stuff showing how it actually works, but it's not like you can most of the time just go like, hey, can I get in your car? Or like most people are getting to experience it. It's a very small number. The same thing with, Waymo. It's like, yeah, it's only in Chandler, Arizona. It's in small places. When it's like happening everywhere and people are seeing it happen, I think that it's going to change people's perspective on it.
I also think that once 10.1 comes out for the US, because I know you're saying right now in Australia and Europe and China, like, who cares? We're not going to get it. I think there will be a big push for you guys to get it because then Tesla will be sure enough that it's safe because it does sound like this is a major change. Mm-hmm. And once it's safe, I think that the push will be on to get regulators to allow at least the trying of it by beta testers in those countries.
Because I think when something's hypothetical, it's so much easier to go like, well, it's probably going to be bad. But once it like comes out and it's not bad, then you're like, well, I think I kind of want it. I mean, think about that with anything from cell phones to flat screen televisions. It's always been the thing. I don't want that. That's too expensive, or that's not here yet. I don't think it'll be good. Touch screens. They were like, oh, they'll get dirty. It's like, and now they're on everything.
Exactly. Hey, I know we all want the full self-driving button right now. We can't push it, but there is a button you can push, and that's the like button right down there.
So the Model X can now only be ordered with dark wheels.
What do you mean?
Well, you used to be able to get silvery Cyberstream wheels. Now they are only in dark.
Even if I choose different wheels?
Yes.
Do they cost more than they did?
No.
How do I get the non-dark wheels?
You'd have to buy something third party.
Is that it?
Pretty much. That's the story.
Wait, so as part of the Model X refresh, they just darken the wheels and that's... Oh, so basically to differentiate. And there wasn't much else besides the Chrome delete to let you know you're driving a refresh. So this is like totally darked out now.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, for people buying Model X's, maybe you care, maybe you don't. I think you'd be able to afford a different set of wheels if you cared that much.
I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think it looks good. In most colors, I think it looks great.
All right, so it starts with another tweet, this one from Sawyer Merritt, and this letter going out to Tesla buyers saying, we are contacting you about your Model 3 Standard Range Plus, currently estimated for delivery near the end of the year. We'd like to offer you the opportunity to receive your car sooner. Due to limited supply and strong customer demand, we are introducing the Model 3 Standard Range Plus battery pack, which we already released in Europe and Asia to North America. This battery has a range of 253 miles. If you are interested in taking delivery as early as September, please visit our inventory page, yada, yada, yada. All right, so didn't it just say the same thing? If you want a Standard Range Plus, then buy the Standard Range Plus?
Really not very well communicated point there. The Standard Range Plus that they're selling in Europe and China, if you want that Standard Range Plus, you can get it sooner.
Okay, so that's what Elon's talking about in this tweet. Our intent with this pack is that product experience is roughly equivalent between nickel and iron. I'd personally slightly opt for iron pack as it wants to be charged to 100%, whereas nickel prefers about 90%.
Right, the pack that it goes in the made in China Model 3s and Model Ys.
Right, so all right, so he's saying if you want your car sooner, you could opt for this. Why would I opt for this? I thought that pack was like subpar.
Right, I mean, so there's a difference between the nickel lithium ions and the iron phosphates.
Can you give us like a pro con?
Yeah, I mean, they're two different chemistries. Keep that in mind. It's not the exact same thing, but the car should be mostly the same. The first and probably the most noticeable difference is the difference in range. 253 miles of the iron and 263 miles of the nickel.
All right, so 10-mile difference.
Right. Now, that is all down to energy density. There's a difference in energy density. The iron isn't as energy dense.
So that means that the LFP pack is going to be heavier.
And LFP, of course, is lithium ferrous phosphate, which is the iron pack. It's going to be heavier. It's going to be less energy dense. And so you don't get as high a range.
Okay.
So that's probably the biggest thing. That's what most people will care the most about.
But, I mean, Elon just said that you can charge it to 100%?
Now, that's because iron has a longer cycle life. Generally, iron cells get about 10,000 charging cycles, which means that you're probably going to be getting less degradation over time.
Oh, okay. So I've heard that in the first year or two, you actually have less degradation, which means after about a year or two, both packs are pretty much similar.
That may be true. It may not be. We don't know because there haven't been that many Teslas out with iron packs that are around. So we don't know that for sure. But just generally, that is what's like supposed to happen.
I guess another benefit of the LFP pack is there's no cobalt in it, which if you don't want to have cobalt in your pack is a nice thing.
Right. And it won't have any nickel either. So it'll be, two maybe problematic metals. Oh, they're not my battery. So shut up, climate change denier. Go home because you're wrong.
And then did I hear right that LFP packs are less prone to fire?
Yes. I mean, you can still light them on fire, but they're less likely to catch on fire.
So, I mean, now I'm kind of back to the camp of like, if I can get my car in September versus January, maybe I would go for an LFP pack.
Right. Now, there were some European buyers who got LFP packs in their cars, and they noticed less range in the winter and also much lower charging speed in the winter. Tesla put out an update, I think, warming up the pack when it's about to charge. Fix that a little bit, but I don't know if it's exactly to the same exacting standards as nickel packs. So that's kind of a question as well.
So this is a tough one for people who are in the process of buying this car.
Right. Now, we did put it to our patrons over on Patreon. We had a poll, so stick around to the end of the episode and we'll tell you what the results are.
But I have a question.
Yeah?
When is my Rivian R1T going to get here?
Well, we've gotten an update from Rivian. CEO RJ Scringe just said, "I'm excited to report that we have started producing vehicles that reflect all of our quality iterations and design refinements. We are currently working with various governing agencies on the final approvals needed to make the first deliveries to pre-order customers in September."
Various governing agencies?
Yes. So I think that's basically NHTSA and the EPA.
He's using that as like an excuse as to why Rivian has delayed deliveries like twice now, because it was supposed to be in June, then it got pushed to July, and now we're hearing September, but September is only a few days away. So, okay, you know what? I'm going to get my hopes up again. I'm going to say I'm getting my truck in September.
Well, RJ went on to say that Rivian service centers are now in operation in Brooklyn, New York, Bellevue, Washington, Normal, Illinois, and San Francisco and El Segundo, California.
Wait, so the closest service center to us will be in Brooklyn, New York? That's like 225 miles away.
Only 225 miles away. It's within the range of the vehicle if you drove in a completely straight line and didn't run into any traffic. Yes. So there you go. RJ also said that a Rivian mobile app is coming in early September.
What I don't like is that, first of all, blaming governing agencies when like you should have already had that ironed out months before a release. Like I've never heard of a car company talking about this, so I don't know why you'd be bringing it up. I feel like this is another straw argument. Secondly,
well, hang on, but I don't think that they're necessarily blaming the governing agencies. I think that it's just that
waiting to work with government.
Well, they are, but I mean, it's just the last step. Like no matter what they did, the delay happened earlier. Now this is the last final step.
Okay, so do you believe them? They better be accurate now, because I feel like this is the last time you can get away with a pushback like this.
Well, right. I mean, the only thing that they have to do right now is deliver one car by the end of September 30th.
Well, that car better be mine. That's all I can say.
I know, but I mean, there's going to be like 1,000 people saying that right now.
Right. So I don't agree with you. I don't think one car is going to cut it. They need to have some serious production going on in September. And I just don't. I hope I'm right. I hope they can do it.
Yeah. Well, actually, I have some news which might lift your spirits. Rivian is going to IPO around Thanksgiving, valued roughly at $80 billion.
Oh, so that's why Ross Gerber tweeted out, so that makes Tesla worth $8 trillion by these metrics. Elon said, I thought 1999 was peak insanity, but 2021 is 1,000% more insane. Steve Mark Ryan said, and tweeted out this bell curve, which shows, I guess, what Elon was thinking. And Elon said,
pretty much.
Ivan said, remember when Tesla producing hundreds of thousands of cars and was worth $30 billion just a few years ago?
Elon said yes.
And then Sawyer Merritt retweeted the Bloomberg story saying that Rivian's going to be worth about $80 billion with its IPO. And Elon said,
don't want to be unreasonable, but maybe they should be required to deliver at least one vehicle per $1 billion of valuation before the IPO.
Yeah, I would agree. Maybe come out with 80 trucks to be worth $80 billion. Kind of funny how Tesla, if they had tried this and said, like, we're worth $80 billion and we have nothing to show for it.
We've never produced one car, and we want to be worth $80 billion.
Right, because let's remember, we have all seen their vehicles driving around, but we don't know how often they've broken. We don't know if there's problems because they could, be fixed. Once they deliver them to customers, and that's why we want to get one and talk about it with you, is we can tell you the whole deal. How are they serviced? How do they charge? Do they break down? What are the problems?
Did we have to pay AAA to drive it to Brooklyn? Right. Like all of these big questions.
Right, which helps you to value a company. And so it's a little scary, as Elon points out, to come up with a company that's worth $80 billion when you haven't proven that you can actually produce the car at scale.
Now, I mean, there is the contract with Amazon. And there's...
Yes, but I mean, it's really scary to have a company that just has a big fat wallet that it can draw, Daddy, can I have some more money to go to the store?
Right.
That's not, I don't know, reassuring.
It's, yeah. And I mean, this has been my biggest complaint about Rivian the whole time, which is that like they have a little bit too much cash all the time. They need to be moving faster. They need to be a little bit leaner. Everything that we've seen shows that they're not very lean, that they're very fat and happy. And this is what happens. You end up with a bunch of delays. Now, Tesla's had delays in the past before. So I'm not trying to be a hypocrite, but in most of those cases, Tesla was producing a vehicle that had never been produced before, or anything remotely like it. I mean, the Model S, completely different than anything else that was on the road. The Model 3 in a completely different price category than anything else with that range at the time. So, I mean, to me, that's the difference here, is that like, Rivian is coming in, like 10 years after Tesla, saying like, oh, we're going to be doing this thing. Yes, it's a lot easier now, but there shouldn't be that many delays.
Right.
So Tesla has just started rolling out app updates.
Ooh, the button's in the car already?
No. App updates. Your Tesla app.
Oh, on the app. All right, cool.
Yes.
Let me get it.
Well, before you do,
I don't
it's
see
not.
The update.
Yes, it's not for Android yet. They haven't rolled it out to Android users as of the time of taping. So that's kind of annoying. Let's just talk about some of the features that we're going to be getting hopefully soon, knock on wood.
Okay.
All right. So refreshed vehicle and energy homepage. So it's a new UI, looks a bit fresher.
Okay.
Streamlined summon experience.
Ooh.
So I don't know exactly what that means, but I assume it's better. Here's one that I think is really important for a lot of people. Enhanced phone key support. Vehicle no longer needs to be selected.
Oh, that's nice. Because if you got, say, Sparky and Tess, and then you're always on Sparky, but you get into Tess, and Tess doesn't know you're there.
So right now, all the cars that you have as a part of your app will be able to be unlocked without you having to go in your phone and say, I want to drive this car today. Like, you don't have to do that anymore. Any car you walk up to.
First world problem solved.
Seriously.
Thank you, Tesla.
The next one is send commands to vehicle immediately upon opening app.
What's that?
So I don't know if this happens to you all the time or what. Sometimes I want to like turn on the AC in my car, and I'm thinking of it like as I'm leaving the store. I'm like, oh man, it's hot today. I want to cool down my car. So I go into my pocket, pull up my thing, turn on the app, and then I wait. The app loads. It hasn't connected to the car yet, and I wait, and I'm walking to the car, and by the time I make it to the car, that's when I can turn on the AC. And I save myself
so they
1
sped
second.
up that connection?
Apparently, yeah, you don't have to wait as long to send things to
Another first world problem solved?
Oh,
wow.
So
this
nice.
is great.
So now I could open the frunk a little bit faster. Just, I think that was kind of annoying, is that you
was
like
a little
open the
clunky.
app, it was
Yep.
a little clunky, and if you wanted to show off something, you'd be like, oh, hang on 1 second. Hold on, it's just loading. Oh, I wanted to show you the cool thing that my car can do, but everyone's like, oh, apps are dumb. It's just so I like that they're speeding that up. You'll like this next one. Use Go Off Grid button to seamlessly disconnect your home from the grid with Powerwall.
Oh, yeah, that's fun because then you can do, I mean, we can do that now, but it involves lowering the percentage and so forth. So this is just a button.
It's just a button.
My house is off grid. My house is on grid. My house is off grid. Like, I can just do that all day.
Right.
Nice.
I didn't know that you could legally say that in Massachusetts, right? Because isn't it a form of tax evasion? Don't tell
No,
National
you know why?
Grid.
Because you're still physically connected.
Oh.
I think.
Well, you're technically
The connector's open. so
Technically, the contactor is open, so you are technically
Don't tell the lawmakers
disconnected.
that.
You can also shop the Tesla catalog and view and manage your orders, so that you could be buying bits and bobs for your car, including screen cover and Tesla USB and other stuff.
Nice.
So that's kind of nice. You'll also be able to view supercharging history and the ability to pay outstanding supercharging or service balances.
Nice. So normally you have to do that like in the car or at a website. Now you can do it on your app. That's smart.
Yes, I think that that's really nice as well.
I'm super stoked. This is great.
Right. But of course, the Android version has not been pushed out yet, so we're going to have to wait a little bit. Apparently, Apple users are using it. We're going to kind of wait until we have the app, and then I think we'll probably do like an in-depth on all of its
If
fun
it's good
features.
enough.
If it's interesting.
Yeah.
If not, we'll just
Because I think there's a few things that this update doesn't contain that people really want.
Okay, right. Like being able to adjust the charging rate
Yes.
on your phone. Some people might be like, what? But for other people, it's like, yes, I want that. Basically, when you're plugged in a level 1 or level 2 charger, being able to control the amps that are going into your car. It's important either because, you have another car charging on the same circuit and you don't want to draw too much power and blow the breaker.
Or because you don't really want to draw that much power, say overnight. You just want to trickle charge throughout the night, and you want to just be able to lower that. You're like, oh, I'm not going anywhere for hours, so I'll just lower that down to 10 amps.
Right. Or because, you do want to start charging your car, but you're going to wait until, off-peak grid stuff, and then you'll up the amperage. Like, there's a lot of reasons why you'd want to do that.
Which also goes to planning your departure and charging times, which you can't do in the app now, which is like, why can't I?
It's so annoying that you have to go into your car to plan when you want to leave. Because by definition, when I'm planning to leave, I'm probably not in my car. Right. I don't drive home, get home and go, I'm going to go kiss my wife. But before I do, let me just think about when I'm going to leave tomorrow. It's like, that's not how you think. And you don't want to go walk out to the garage in the middle of the night to be like, oh, right, I have to leave at 3 a.m, so I need to change. You don't want to do any of that. You want to just, pull out your phone in bed and go oh, geez, great. That's what you want to do. I also happen to know that lots of people want to be able to view live footage from their Sentry Mode cameras from their phone.
Yeah, but that certainly seems a lot harder than changing the charging rate.
And it would certainly be a lot more data to stream 4 video feeds over 4G. But maybe if it was, at your house and connected to Wi-Fi, and you could just be like, oh my gosh, there's a liger in the front yard.
Or maybe if it's just like a picture of the triggering events, that would be handy.
That would be really handy if it was just like a Sentry Mode thing has happened and here's the picture. And it's like, oh, that's just a duck. Or it's like, oh my gosh, it's a scary guy. Then you'd know whether to run out to your car or not. But for all of these different features, I think that the most important part of the app won't be for Tesla owners.
What do you mean? The app is for Tesla owners.
But it might start being for non-Tesla EV drivers that are going to be supercharging.
Oh, right. Because he's opening up the network.
Right. So, in terms of what it's going to look like if you don't have a car on Tesla, but maybe you can add your Nissan Leaf, or you could be adding some other vehicle that could supercharge. Is it going to be saying why don't you just buy a Tesla? Every time you go to supercharge, it's like, are you sure you don't want to just buy a Tesla and you wouldn't have to worry about it?
I have a question about, so let's say they do this and a week from now we can drive our Leaf to a supercharger. We get there, we don't have the right adapter. Are they going to have like a little box with a app-controlled lock on it that we can be like, open the box to get the adapter out?
We have no idea how that's going to work. Or maybe it's just going to be like, you don't have the adapter. Why don't you buy one from the Tesla shop, which is right here. That'll be $500. Thank you very much. Oh, that's not a bad idea. I mean, they're adding a lot of functionality. I am curious to see what it's going to be like for non-owners. But again, as soon as we get it, as soon as it's out for Android, we'll review it. I'll get into every little menu so that way we can talk more about it.
We're not going to switch to Apple to do this?
No.
They haven't started producing Model Ys at Giga Berlin yet, but Tesla has started delivering Model Ys in Europe.
Can Dogan, a senior Tesla advisor at Dortmund, Germany, posted a photo of the first European Model Y delivery last week.
So these are Chinese-made Model Ys from Giga Shanghai.
Correct. Giga Berlin was supposed to already be up and running in July of this year, but with the delay until October, it seems Tesla didn't want to make customers wait, so they started importing them from China.
Now, our European viewers in other countries like Norway and the Netherlands have also been spotting Model Ys, so by the time you see this, deliveries should be underway.
Let the Ys begin.
Now, there are about 8,000 Model Ys coming from China to Europe in the next few weeks, so it's pretty exciting. Tesla Time News is sponsored by Cybertruck Owners Club. There you'll find a crowdsourced reservation tracker that you can update and find your place in line. Check out their website for Cybertruck news, discussions, and community for Cybertruck enthusiasts and future owners.
And you can check out the 3D configurator, allowing you to visualize the Cybertruck in any color, wrap, and logo, both on screen and in augmented reality. So KNCAP, or the Korean New Car Assessment Program.
Hang on, I think the K is silent, so I think it's NCAP.
Okay. NCAP has just completed their test of the Model 3. Now, surprisingly, it got a score of 83.3 and a 2 out of 5, which confusingly is the second best score. Now, this might surprise some people as Euro NCAP gives the Model 3 5 out of 5 stars, the best score, and so does NHTSA.
But hang on a second. I saw the Hyundai Ioniq 5 got the highest score, and if you look at the crash tests, it doesn't do any better than the Model 3. I mean, the frontal, the overlap, the side pole, the Model 3 gets better marks.
Well, you're right. The Model 3 gets a 99.6% on crash safety, but that's not where they lost the points because there's different sections of NCAP's test.
Okay.
Compared to the Ioniq 5, the Model 3 loses most points in the accident prevention safety section.
Yeah, but I watched the video. It performed just as well at its automatic emergency braking tests, aside from the crossing cyclist.
And that's not even where the Model 3 lost most of the points.
Well, then why did it come in so low compared to the Ioniq 5?
Well, here's where it's funny. The Tesla loses almost all of its points relative to the Ioniq 5 in this category to 4 safety systems. In fact, it gets 0 in all 4. And this is translated from Korean, so forgive me. The lane maintenance support system safety, 0 out of 4. Safety of rear side approach warning system, 0 out of 2. Adjustable top speed limiter safety, 0 out of half a point. And intelligent top speed limiter safety, 0 out of 1.5. It loses 8 out of the 20 points of the accident prevention category to these 4 systems.
But wait a minute. Doesn't Tesla have lane assist? Why'd they get 0?
Right. The Model 3 could have gone from an 83 to an 87 if NCAP counted the system that it already has. And in fact, the Model 3 got that 4 points in the Euro NCAP test.
But they got 0 here?
Right. I mean, I was just driving the other day, early in the morning, and there were a bunch of squirrels on the road, and I'm trying to swerve to miss them, but because I'm going over the line, it will try and nudge me back to the center. So doesn't it have the system that they lost 4 points for?
And then what's up with the rear side approach warning system?
Now, this one Tesla doesn't have. In some new cars, it will warn you if you're like backing out of a parking space and there's another car coming across.
Okay.
So, yeah, Tesla doesn't have that one. Sure, take away the 2 points.
Okay, but then there's the 2 top speed limiters. Doesn't Tesla have that?
Tesla definitely has a speed limiter. If you go into the Tesla app, you can limit the top speed all the way down to 50 miles an hour if you want to.
So why'd they lose points?
I don't know. I mean, I would at least give them the half a point for the adjustable top speed limiter safety, because that is something that you can turn on if you really wanted to. The question for me is what an intelligent top speed limiter safety is. Now, I've never heard of such a thing, but maybe it's because it's a non-American thing.
I mean, that sounds very un-American. I mean, when I'm driving along, I don't want the government telling me how fast I can go.
They do tell you, they just don't limit your car. Which,
right.
I mean,
because that's un-American.
Right. So, I mean, maybe that's why they lost, 1.5 points. but that wouldn't have made such a big difference if they hadn't lost some of the other points that I think they have the systems for. It's questionable. In the end, the Model 3 had the points to get the highest safety level, but NCAP dinged it down to level 2, which is the second best, for having a poor pedestrian safety score.
What's a poor pedestrian safety score?
So essentially, they do this test where if you hit a pedestrian, you're obviously going to be hitting them in the legs, and their head's going to be bouncing off some part of the car. So what they do is they take a analog for a leg, and they shoot it at the car at different spots. And the Model 3 did perfectly on the leg test.
Okay.
But for the head test, in certain spots, it just didn't perform as well as the Ioniq 5.
What do you mean perform? Head hitting the car?
Well, they measure the force
Yeah.
of the bouncing. So, like, basically, the hood is supposed to be soft, so that way,
Oh, it is?
hit someone and they slam their head on the thing, that they'll be like be able to be okay.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't either. So I mean, like if your car was covered in foam, it would do better?
Yes, like if you had a bouncy castle taped to the hood of the car, I think it would perform better. It's kind of a weird. Here's the thing that's always kind of weird with safety is like most people, when they hear about like safety, they do not care about the person that they're going to hit because
Right.
they don't plan on hitting anybody.
Right.
So when they hear like, oh, it's an 83, it's only a 2 out of 5 with 1 being the best because it's Korea. Oh, I don't know. Even though the Model 3 got a 99.6 on crash safety, which is all you care about.
Right.
So it is kind of weird because I mean, and I get the assisted, the
hang on.
safety systems
the
too.
Elephant in the room is that the Hyundai Ioniq 5 happens to be made in Korea.
Right. Yes.
And it got the highest score, which is, it would be fine if this were just an article in some Korean auto blog and they're like, it's the best car ever. But when we're talking safety, we got to compare apples to apples, and people need to know exactly if it's safer or not. And I do not like playing games with safety scores.
And it took a really long time to figure out where they lost the points because if you go to the KNCAP.org site and you click on the English button, you can't search for any of the cars. None of the information is available. You have to view it all in Korean, and Google Translate does not work. So I had to pull out Google Translate on my phone, use the camera, which is a fun feature of the thing, but then I have to take a screenshot and you end up with this crappy looking stuff. Otherwise, I would have no idea what any of those words meant. I'd have to learn Korean to tell you what was going on.
Wow.
So it's, I don't know.
Not cool.
Not cool. And I think that, European NCAP gives them the lane assist score of 4 out of 4.
Hey, this is why you want independent news, folks. All right, what do you think this is, Jesse?
This looks like a thumb drive. Did it go through a grinder and catch it on fire?
Very good. That is a USB drive that held the SentryCam data for a salvaged Model Y that caught on fire in March of this year at a home near Dallas.
Wait, so what? I don't...
All right, so in the media, before anyone had enough evidence back in March, the fire that burned this house was blamed on a Model Y.
Okay, so the Tesla cam footage now shows what really happened?
Yes. Tesla white hat hacker Green the Only happens to know the owner of the person who bought the Model Y that was now burned and became a salvaged Model Y, and they were able to retrieve the SentryCam data and share it on his Twitter account. So here is the footage of the fire starting inside the garage. It looks like either a propane tank or a gas explosion.
And the Tesla is obviously outside of the garage.
Exactly. Here's a second video from a second SentryCam showing here another angle, showing clearly that the Tesla caught on fire because the house caught on fire first. And as Green the Only pointed out, here is a photo of the untouched Model Y battery pack.
So if you were expecting the Model Y to have caught something on fire, the battery pack is probably where the fire would have started.
Right.
And this battery pack is salvaged. It's usable.
And this goes to why we don't cover stories when they first come out. Because all over the media, it was, well, Tesla catches house on fire. That is not what happened. It was the opposite. The house caught the Tesla on fire. And yet the media just goes with whatever the hell they want to go with. They hear fire and Tesla, and they put the two together and make the story they want.
Now, I want to point out, in that Sentry Mode clip, you can see that the car was plugged in.
Mm-hmm.
The lady was inside the car.
Mm-hmm.
And then she got out of the car and ran away. She couldn't back up the car because it was plugged in.
Yeah.
Do you remember the idea that I said that we would advertise if someone came up with it?
Yes, we have a couple people that have reached out to us.
So the idea is a quick disconnect, emergency eject button in the car. You drive away from the charger because, oh no, there's a fire in front of my car suddenly.
Exactly what you wanted.
You don't want to get out of the car with the fire in front of the car, go unplug the car, and then run back into the car that might now be on fire just to back it up out of the fire.
Right. Also, if it's a zombie attack, bear attack, whatever.
Right. You don't want to get out of the car to unplug to get away from danger.
Where do we stand with that, by the way?
So we do have some people working on it, but if there's more, I mean, the more the merrier, honestly.
Because this could save lives.
It could really save lives, and this is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to share this video with your friend who had sent you that thing like back in March, and it was like, oh, look at this, the Tesla caught the house on fire. You can now refute that and say, hey, why don't look at this, bozo. Why don't you do your research before you send me crap like this? Go over to our Now You Know Clips channel. We'll have this as a little section so you can just to your friend who's a jerk. As you may know, we here on Now You Know will be getting the new Sondors Metacycle, which is slated to be arriving in Q3.
This modern one-piece aluminum frame e-motorcycle is one of the most anticipated motorcycles of the year.
Now, it may not have the specs of the Live Wire or the Zero. I mean, the top speed is only 80 miles an hour and the range is only 80 miles, but it does have one number that beats both of those bikes.
The price. Coming in at just $5,000, you could buy 3 or 4 of these for the price of another e-motorcycle.
And now Sondors has announced that they are in durability testing as we speak.
Quote, we don't stop at going the extra mile with our commitment to exceptional quality, and Metacycle is shown to be a true overachiever. That's why Metacycle is undergoing continuous accelerated durability testing. The motor and controller are rocking out 9,000 problem-free miles per day, accurately simulating hours and hours of real-world driving.
Sondors claims that the drivetrain has gone 300,000 miles without any major issues, and the battery has done 1,000 charging cycles.
And if we do the math, it should be out in about 5 weeks because there's only 5 weeks left in the quarter. So can they deliver on time?
It's all up to the motorcycle that's sitting on a test stand right now going 80 miles an hour and not moving a foot forward. It's going and right now, just keeps going. And as soon as it's done, we can get them.
I hope
so. That'll be so fun. And stick around because we're going to be covering that when it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we have the Now Let's Review channel for, is we take all of these cool e-mobility devices and we run them through all of our tests. All right, remember when we reported last year on the Swedish boat manufacturer Candela and their first electric flying boat, the C7?
Oh, right. It uses a hydrofoil to lift the boat out of the water for a very smooth and efficient ride.
Right. Well, the C7 has been so successful that Candela has just introduced the C8.
What's the difference?
Well, Candela's founder and CEO, Gustav Hasselkog, explains, with the C7, we demonstrated that our hydrofoil technology not only allows for long range on electricity, but also provides a better experience than conventional boats. Thanks to our hydrofoil system, you get a smoother, nicer ride. However, the C7 was more like a hand-built sports car, never intended for volume production. With the new C8, we're pushing the technology to the next level and at the same time focusing on making a boat that has all the comfort you would expect while designing it for efficient mass production.
Okay, well that's great. So it must be like super cheap because they're designing it for mass production. What's the price?
Well, it's going to be 290,000 euros before VAT or $339,000, which, to be fair, is on par with some of the gas and diesel powered 8-meter premium boats in its class. But some huge advantages of the C8 are the sealed C-Pod electric drivetrain, which goes 3,000 hours before requiring maintenance, compared with, get this, on most gas-powered boats, you only go about 100 hours before you have to do maintenance to the motor. Plus, it's 95% cheaper with the C8 to operate than gas boats because it's so efficient.
Plus, you'll be riding above the waves, and that just makes such a difference in ride quality.
Yeah, and that increases the range too, because now you're not hitting the water the whole time with all that drag. So you get a range of over 50 nautical miles, that's 58 miles or 93 kilometers, with a 44 kilowatt hour battery that can charge in just 2 hours.
It says here there's a 4-person sofa in the cabin, a freshwater shower, optional hardtop for cold days, a premium sound system because the ride is so silent, and a 15-inch high-res touchscreen for navigation and controls.
And my favorite is this, retractable hydrofoil. So you're not stuck with having the hydrofoil being below the boat the whole time. You can actually retract them up into the boat.
I mean, that's an insane range.
Yeah, it is.
That's really
Yeah, I mean,
astounding.
look where you can go.
I mean, that's pretty respectable.
Yeah.
And you're going to be gliding nice and fast and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah. If it weren't for the price, I mean, I would order one right now.
Yeah, maybe someday they're going to have the $30,000 hydrofoil boat.
Right.
So Tesla has begun hiring for its new humanoid robot project.
Yes.
There are 4 job postings on the Tesla careers page. There's mechanical engineer actuator integration for humanoid robot. There's mechanical engineer actuator gear design for the humanoid robot. There's the senior humanoid mechatronic robotics architect.
Nice.
And the senior humanoid modeling robotics architect.
Wow. Where are these? Where would you report to?
You would be reporting to Palo Alto, California, if you wanted to work on the project.
I am not qualified to do any of those jobs.
But, I mean, some of you might be. And if you're interested in applying or know someone who would, I would definitely head over to tesla.com/careers, and you can sign up for them. If you search for humanoid, you will see all the postings. And at time of recording, they are still all up there. So they're still looking for applicants.
I mean, this shows that Tesla was serious about making their Tesla bot.
Yeah. And that AI Day was truly a recruiting event because they wanted to get people excited to come work for them to make the bot. Sounds pretty good on a resume, senior humanoid mechatronic robotics architect.
So are you responsible for having made the robot that took over the Earth? That was me.
Now, we like EVs on this channel, so how about this news? Mazda, not a name we normally associate with EVs, is launching its first EV in the US this fall, the MX-30.
Ooh, give me the deets.
All right, well, let's start with the good news. The price will start at $33,470, which after the federal tax credit and state incentives could mean that it could cost less than $25,000.
Nice. I like that price.
Yes.
All right. How about the range?
With just 35.5 kilowatt hours of battery, the MX-30 has an EPA estimated range of just 100 miles or 160 kilometers.
Wait, what? It's 2021. 100 miles? That's it?
Yeah, Mazda says that the MX-30 is designed to meet the needs of most urban residents. It will have a 105 kilowatt or 142 horsepower motor, so not particularly powerful, putting down the rubber kind of.
Here's what I think they did. Okay. I think they started working on this years and years ago. They took an i3, a BMW i3.
Okay.
And because look at this, right? The missing B pillar and the suicide double doors, that's straight out of the i3. Mm-hmm. And I think they were like, the i3 can go about 80 miles. Let's go 100.
Right.
And
make it slightly bigger.
This will be great.
Put a slightly bigger battery pack in there. And guys, we're going to be working on this for the next 10 years. And then we're going to be coming out with it in 2022. Right.
When this comes out, boy, it's going to be great.
Right.
Yeah. And I think it's just completely underwhelming. It's fine to say you're for urban environments and all that, but that's not cutting
the price.
100
for the price
miles?
For $33,000. Like, I know with the tax incentive you're going to get down to 25, but it's like 100 miles.
No. Mazda, you blew it.
Could be a secondary car, but I would definitely be buying this one used.
You blew it, Mazda. All right, it's time to play EVs by state.
EVs by state.
Our first contestant hails from the Eureka State of California. Welcome, Jesse.
What do I have to do?
Well, we'll put 5 seconds on the clock, and by the way, you can play at home too. We'll ask some questions about BEVs by state here in the U.S. Are you ready to play?
I didn't study. But
good.
Okay.
Here we go. With 5 seconds on the clock, what state has the most EVs?
Oh, that's an easy one. Has to be California.
Correct. California has 425,300 EVs. All right. Reset the clock. What state has the lowest number of EVs registered?
Alaska?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's North Dakota with only 220 EVs registered. All right, you're 1 for 2. Get this next one right and you'll win. What 3 states besides California have at least 5% of the EVs in the country? 5 seconds on the clock. Let's go.
Texas, Washington, and Massachusetts.
Oh, so close. It's Texas, Washington, and Florida. Florida actually has the second most EVs in the country with 58,160.
Do I at least win something for playing?
For being such a great sport, your consolation prize is a year's worth of level 2 charging at stations in North Dakota.
How many are there?
There's about 30.
Well, at least it's free.
That's right. The electricity is free. You just have to pay for the parking.
Okay, but seriously, looking at this data, it's insane the percentage of EVs in California. 42% of all battery-powered EVs in the U.S. are in California.
Yeah.
And even though here in Massachusetts we have one of the highest numbers of EVs per capita, we still only have 2.1% or 21,000 BEVs.
Yeah, I mean, Hawaii has over 10 times more EVs than Mississippi.
And get this, during all of 2020, Tesla vehicles accounted for 79% of new electric vehicle sales in the US.
79%.
I think the thing to take a look at this data about is it's not a very even distribution of EVs in the country.
Right.
Like California, yes, obviously, just everywhere. I mean, there's whole swaths of the country where you probably have never seen an EV.
Right.
That's kind of wild to me. Like I know that there's probably Teslas, moving through supercharging at stations and stuff like that, but they don't live there. That's weird. It's something that I feel like we should be more worried about, and it's something that I think state governments need to do something about.
It shows you why California is such an important state. It does lead the nation almost always in almost all things. It's like a country. I mean, if California were a country in almost every category, it would be like the 8th largest country in the world.
Right.
All right, Starman is on vacation this week. He is in a Tesla spaceship with the Dream Case driving around Europe. So have a great time there, Eli. But hopefully he'll be back next week. All right, it's time for Into the Future. The Norwegian company Yara Marine Technologies, founded in 2017, claims to have made the world's first electric autonomous cargo ship.
The Yara Birkeland plans to make its first autonomous trip between the two Norwegian towns of Hirøya and Brevik later this year.
This roughly 15-kilometer trip would be made with no humans aboard, but will be followed closely by humans at 3 onshore stations along the route.
The ship has a 7-megawatt-hour battery, 2 900-kilowatt thruster pods, and 2 700-kilowatt tunnel thrusters for a top speed of 13 knots or 15 miles an hour.
So the Yara Birkeland can carry about 60 40-foot shipping containers.
The plan is for the ship to carry cargo all along the Norway coast, and according to Yara, it should replace 40,000 truck journeys every year.
I mean, autonomous cars are cool, but I mean, autonomous ships?
Forget autonomous ships. Electric ships? Electric cargo ships? Do you know how polluting a ship of this size would be if it was running on bunker fuel?
Yeah. And bunker fuel, by the way, is below diesel. Like it's the least refined fuel. So
it's
when
like
it burns,
one step above asphalt.
Right.
It's so disgusting, and it has some of the worst pollutants in the world.
Yep.
It can't be regulated because all these shipping companies, go out of countries that harbor them, and it's really, really bad. So having electric ships not only could be saving money in the future, but it could be saving thousands of lives.
Millions. All right, it's time for Going Green, and we're brought to you by EcoWare.
Remember at EcoWare that we carbon offset the manufacturing, the shipping, and life cycle of your purchase, and we plant 10 trees, and we help cap a well with a well-done foundation.
And now we're selling things like mugs from our buddy Randy and honey from our buddy Bill. Okay, so what if you live in a place where EV chargers are not allowed on the sidewalk?
Where would that be?
Well, how about like in Belgium, where you can't block the sidewalk for any reason? So Belgian inventor Danny Weijs decided to solve the problem. He invented this. Now, it looks like a standard drain pipe on the side of a building, but it is in fact a motorized EV charger that you can lower down with the app that he made and then plug in your EV on the street. This way, the charging cable doesn't block the sidewalk for pedestrians.
Minister Bart Somers was very impressed with Danny's prototype. He said, "I think this is a fantastic solution. I have a lot of respect for this entrepreneur who has found a very creative and innovative solution to charging an electric car when there is no charging station available."
So I want to thank our viewer, John Pierre, for sharing this story with us. This is what makes our job here at Now You Know so special. It's you. It's the members of our community, because we are a community. We're in this together. We are solving problems. We are advocating. We are educating, and we're doing it together.
So, yeah, I mean, if you're interested in this idea, and I know that I am, if you live somewhere where there's some sidewalk bylaw that, you can't put an extension cord across the... Maybe this is the solution to the problem. Maybe you should call this guy up.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
All right, it's time for Sunspots. So we called it. We've been saying that Tesla will become a power utility, and now they have.
Tesla Monthly reports that Tesla Energy Ventures has officially filed with the Public Utility Commission, or PUC, of Texas in mid-August to enter the markets as an electricity utility retailer.
So in the filing, Tesla revealed its plans to deploy 2 massive grid storage batteries in Texas. The over 100 megawatt battery that we previously reported on being deployed near Houston, and a 250 megawatt battery near GigaTexas in Austin.
The PUC expects to make its decision in November.
So, Texans, Reach out to your legislators, your governor. Put pressure on the PUC to grant permission to Tesla. You know that lobbyists from the dark side will be pushing hard against them.
And I just want to point out that as of earlier this year, Tesla's Energy Auto Bidder AI software platform had over 1.2 gigawatt hours of assets under management.
And this week, some German utility companies told German newspaper Handelsblatt, "We take Tesla very seriously and watch exactly what they are up to. Just as Tesla changed the rules of the game in the automotive sector, we also trust them to disrupt the energy market."
Right. So this is not some like, oh, frou, whatever, Tesla's doing some whatever. A lot of energy companies are starting to sit up and take notice because I think their days are kind of numbered. Tesla could be making a huge difference on Texas's energy grid, which of course has never had any problems ever.
Now, a lot of you watching might want to get Powerwalls for your house. And I'll bet a lot of you have questions like, well, if I get solar and Powerwalls, how does it work? How many do I need? You can talk to our friends at EnergyPal. They are the energy experts in solar and batteries, and they can point you not just to Tesla products, but also other companies. They are unbiased in that regard. So reach out to them at the link down below. Tell them that Zach and Jesse sent you, and you can get all of this expert advice for free.
And you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to have a salesman come to your house and walk around or anything. You can do it all from your couch, all from your laptop and your phone. Use the link down below. Let them know that Zach and Jesse sent you.
All right, it's time for our video contributor stories. What do we got this week?
We've got our buddy Aviv in Israel.
You know what they say, that a picture can tell 1,000 words. Well, this picture, I think, can say 1,000 words about the story of electric vehicles in Israel. What you see here is the past and future of the electric vehicles in Israel, because on the left you see a representative of the past, the Charger, and on the right you see a Model 3 representing the current state and the future of electric vehicles in Israel, which seems, I think, bright. Let me explain. Back in 2007, a company named Better Place was launched. They wanted to advance EVs by cutting down the costs, and the costs of EVs are mainly the batteries. So they launched a company that is promoting the battery swap technique, and this should enable to dramatically reduce the costs of electric vehicles because you no longer need to build very heavy and very large and very expensive batteries. In the meantime, it was thought to be one of the leading companies for electric vehicles, so much so that even Tesla had to respond.
And so we designed the Model S from the beginning to be capable of swapping out the battery pack faster than you can fill a gas tank.
Better Place partnered with Renault to produce the Renault Fluence ZEV, which was supposed to be a 100-mile range electric vehicles that was capable of battery swaps. Come 2012 and 2013, it turns out that Better Place wasn't in such a good place. They burned a whole lot of money on growing and growing while they still need to have a working prototype, a working product, and therefore they ended up in bankruptcy because they grew too fast. Nowadays, the Renault Fluence ZEVs are kind of a rarity. Fortunately, we have one right at our own neighborhood, so I could take a picture of my son 2 years ago with it. However, there are only 1,000 of them, less than 1,000 of them in the entire state of Israel. Basically, that's it. There are no more such cars. Anyhow, Better Place, now operating under the name Ginergy, is what charges the car in the photograph we saw in the beginning. While Model 3 is now coming into Israel in record numbers. Actually, in June, it was the second most sold vehicle in the country of any type. Around 2,000 units were sold in a single month. And this is just the second month of operating in Israel. So I think that the future for Model 3 in Israel and Tesla in general in Israel is very, very bright.
All right, it's time for our Patreon bonus stories, and we're going to have a very interesting Investor Club bonus story about a Chinese autonomous vehicle. Our bonus stories will feature a new EV Porsche, a story about an autonomous Toyota hitting someone, and a big old rant with Sandy Munro. All right, we're back from our Patreon bonus stories, and we need your help to produce the news every week and get other stuff done as well. So please take a minute and consider joining us over at patreon.com/nowyouknow. All right, it's time for the shout-outs. Who do we got this week, Jesse?
We've got Justinas Dragis,
Daniel Carlson,
Rick Hodgson,
Johnny Onassis,
Connecting the Dots,
John S. Johnston Jr.,
Douglas Houston,
Pete Baker,
Dave,
Patrick Guidera,
Giannis Weinholtz,
Ricky Singleton,
Ben Dixon,
David Tierney,
Saul Cruz,
Bradley,
Vitsis Paltsis,
Sam Tresize,
Serkan Selkuk,
Jeremy ZV,
Dave Ashworth,
Craig Hertzler,
Christian.
and Jay Schmucky.
Thank you so much for supporting us. We can't do this show without you.
All right, it's time for Elon's tweets. And Andre Karpathy, the head of Tesla's AI, said a friend yesterday mentioned that semiconductors tech is probably the deepest node in our civilization's explored tech tree. This actually sounds right, but it's also a fun concept. Any other candidates?
Lex Fridman says, if we consider language a technology, we've explored it deeply and still keep exploring with some help from AI.
Elon said, my son asked if we would still speak English 7,000 years from now. I said, probably not. There was not even the faintest hint of English 7,000 years ago. Wow.
It's a good way to think of things.
Yeah. Earl of Frunkpuppy said, should we be nervous that you are building rockets, an army of robots, and say English will end?
Elon said, it's basically the plot of Fallout New Vegas. It's actually not, because you don't get shot in the head at the beginning of it, but whatever.
Tesla and the Gong said, would it be a first step in moving humans to become a Type 2 civilization, sidestep Type 1?
Elon said there is a profound difference between single planet and multi-planet species. If we are able to visit other stars one day, we may discover many long-dead single-planet civilizations.
Now, hang on. Type 2 and Type 1 planets has nothing to do with this. It has to do with energy.
I mean, if we were to be interpreting this literally, it's the Kardashev scale, which means like how much energy is the civilization using, and we basically have to cover our entire Earth with solar panels to get to Type 1, so we're technically a Type 0 civilization. I don't think that's what Tesla and Gong was talking about. He's talking about, like, should we just go to another star system and start a colony there? And Elon is like, yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of Type 1s.
Elon tweeted out 100,000 Starlink terminals shipped. And then he went on to say, we're now serving all these countries. Our license applications are pending in many more countries, hoping to serve Earth soon. Nice. Holmar's catalog said, people really have no clue. And he tweeted out this chart we've seen before, showing that Waymo's in the lead and Tesla's way back at the end of the pack in terms of autonomous driving.
And of course, this is coming from Navigant. They're so good at just analyzing full self-driving companies.
And Elon said, nope. RGV Aerial Photography said the outline for the new high bay can be seen on this aerial photo taken today.
Elon said, can't wait for the new high bay. Neither can I.
Holmar's catalog said, drove around San Francisco, full self-driving beta 9.2 with Kim Paquette, and she said it definitely seems to work better in California than it does in Rhode Island, Elon.
Elon said, in general, we overfit to San Francisco Bay Area.
Elon tweeted out this meme. Vincent tweeted out, SpaceX President Gwynne Shotwell says liquid oxygen shortages due to COVID-19 will cause less frequent rocket launches.
Elon said, this is a risk, but not yet a limiting factor.
Dave Lee sent out a poll, said, which is longer, 2 weeks or 4 weeks?
Elon said 2 weeks.
Holmar's catalog said 2 weeks t-shirt in the Tesla shop might be a bestseller. Jean A. Bott said, Now You Know channel has them in their EcoWare shop, I believe. But yeah, they belong in the Tesla shop. And then they said, many products even. Yeah, we've got tons of
We
awesome.
got shirts. We got the shirts you're looking for. Head over to ecoware.us.
Christian Davenport said, another front in a growing rivalry, Amazon urges FCC to deny SpaceX's plan for a second-generation Starlink.
Elon tweeted this. I think it's the tweet of the week this week. Turns out Bezos retired in order to pursue a full-time job filing lawsuits against SpaceX.
1 billion subscribers says, laugh out loud for $69. You can have one too. And Elon did laugh out loud. Eric Berger said Blue Origin is attempting to drown NASA in its moon program in lawyers and paperwork. Joey Roulette said NASA reluctantly agrees to extend the stay on SpaceX's HLS contract by a week because the 7 gigabytes plus of case-related docs in the Blue Origin suit keeps causing DOJ's Adobe software to crash, and key NASA staff were busy at Space Symposium this week, causing delays to a filing deadline. Elon tweeted out a sad face.
This hasn't happened at the Department of Justice before? They haven't gotten documents
Lots of them
that are more than 6 gigabytes? Like, that's a lot. Like, that's a lot. But, I mean, this is the thing that broke it?
Crashed.
But, I mean, like,
yeah.
don't they have tons of lawsuits all the time?
Right?
Is this why the courts are so slow?
I don't know. Jason said, Elon, can Tesla add rear emergency braking using the rear camera? It's clear emergency braking works great with vision in the front. Why not the back? Many cars have this as a standard feature, so if there is an obstacle directly in your reverse path, the car will brake.
Elon said, good point. We do have torque reduction if obstacles detected, but active braking would be better. Prime directive is do not crash. Now,
I think the prime directive should be do not hurt humans. Come on now. We're going to have Tesla bots soon.
Not what the... yeah. I have an idea, though. What about rear automatic emergency acceleration?
Wait, what?
Or REA?
What's REA for?
It would be for if you're about to be rear-ended, the car
it
speeds up. Now, it would check to make sure that there was nothing in front of it. It would check to make sure that it wasn't going to go through an intersection dangerously.
This is why we should be the VPs of Special Operations.
Because if you added
REA.
rear automatic emergency acceleration, it could save you from a rear-end accident. If you're on the highway and there's a guy going 120 and is coming up behind you, slamming on the brakes because you just changed lanes or he just changed lanes, and your car can just go like, woo, and you're like, what was that about?
Love it.
It could have saved you from an accident.
Love it. Homar's catalog said, release the full self-driving visualization to all users with the V10 software. It's the best ad for FSD you can get, Elon.
Elon said, good point.
Coffee Table Tesla said, Elon, should forward collision warning distance setting just use tax setting for follow distance instead of a separate early, medium, or late descriptor? Seems like there's a logical correlation there already. Is a more natural adjustment for many and one less setting.
Elon says, yeah, we should tie autopilot driving style preferences and various warning settings together in general. I disagree.
Okay.
I like having my separate things and knowing that I'm set to early, even though I might be like this on the highway, because like,
well, if you were
they're
set
two
to
different
this
things.
Okay. All right.
Like I don't want late detection just because I like to not have people cut me off on the highway.
All right. Well, we asked a question this week in our Patreon poll, and the question was, which would you choose, iron or nickel, as your new battery?
Yes. And iron won.
Yeah, I did not expect that. I thought nickel was still going to be in the lead.
Yeah.
But iron has a lot of pluses.
It does. None of us have really experienced it yet.
Yeah, no, we need more data.
We do need more data to know. But yeah, a lot of people liked the reduced degradation. It sounds like degradation is something that people might be a little worried about.
And less prone to fire.
Less prone to fire. But yeah, degradation was the one that people really cared about.
All right, it's time for Community Mail Time. And remember to send your stories in to hello@nowyouknowchannel.com. And our buddy Jeff, you all know Jeff.
We featured him on a few of our episodes over the years. And in fact, Jeff was nice enough to let us borrow his Model Y for our recent VW versus Model Y review.
Jeff puts on fabulous EV events.
This year's EV event and meetup is at the Hebert Candy House on Route 20 in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts on Saturday, September 18th from 1 to 5.
So there will be just about every kind of EV there.
There will be EV rides.
And we will be there too.
So whether you're interested in EVs or if you have an EV.
If you're nearby in New England on September 18th, stop by and say hello. So John in Sweden spotted 2 trucks in a parking lot loaded with Model Ys. They could be some of the first in Sweden.
Nice spot, John.
Karsten sent us this video of an open house at Tesla Tarnby that happened last Saturday near Copenhagen in Denmark.
And is that a Model Y I see?
It could be.
Why, in fact, it is.
Lawrence shared a photo of his new Plaid S, and he said, the car is a blast, literally. I love the yoke steering wheel despite all the criticism. It's very comfortable to use, and after driving for a couple hours, you don't even need to think about it. Jealous.
Jealous much, huh?
Robert spotted this gold Tesla in a drive-thru because, of course, you wanted to see different colored Teslas.
There we go.
And then many of you sent us this story about a Model X in London that drove off with the rear Falcon Wing door still open. You get a warning beep that can't be missed and a warning in the binnacle. And you can do the same thing in an ICE car, I would point out. You could leave the door open and then smash it into a bus. But yeah.
But because it doesn't go up, it's less exciting because go-y up doors are more interesting.
And then again, you wanted some multicolored Teslas. So Warren sent us this photo of a green Model 3 in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Jim spotted this lime green metallic Model S in his building's parking garage in Hong Kong the other day. Armando sent us this rose gold Model S spotted in Waterford, Connecticut.
Wow.
David sent us these photos of his color-changing Tesla.
With a rainbow?
With a rainbow. I mean,
Wow.
That's got to be extra points right there. Right? Car at the end of the rainbow. All right, so did you get enough colored ones or do you need any more?
It'd be good to have some more colors. I don't know which ones we're missing.
Oh my gosh, really? I don't think you can name any missing colors. Seriously?
I don't know. Send in some more if you want to.
All right, it's time for Supercharger reviews. Now, remember that you can go out into the world, find a Supercharger that's either never been reviewed before or one that's been reviewed many times before, but you got your own take on it. Shoot it in landscape, upload it to our Now You Know website where we've got this cool map where you can upload it, immediately have it be seen by the community, and we might include it on Tesla Time News. So let's see what we got this week.
Hi, Jack and Jesse. I'm Art Shalik. I'm at the Clarksburg Supercharger. It's a 250 watt supercharger, 8 stall, and it's behind a Wawa here on Monmouth Road, right off of 195. 1 mile from Great Adventure. Six Flags Great Adventure. Here in Jersey, we just call it Great Adventure. Also, close to here, walking distance, are many fast food restaurants, and a short driving distance, there's Outlet Mall. Now you know.
Hello, Second Jesse. This is Holger from Austria again. I'm here at the Regensburg Supercharger with 10 stalls at the fuel station. There's nothing else here, but it's convenient next to the highway, so I give it a 6 out of 10. Now you know.
Hey, Zach and Jesse and all the Tesla Time newsers. We are standing outside the Delagonia Square Hotel where we just stayed for the night. Super beautiful little 12-room hotel. And they have destination chargers, which is pretty vital for our trip. We're coming down from Manassas, Virginia to see friends in Dawsonville, Georgia. And then we're heading from here on to New Smyrna Beach, Florida. So it's a little bit of a stretch. We were able to make it to this hotel just fine. The main thing I'd recommend is if you're going to come here and stay, remind them you need the Tesla chargers turned on because they turn them off at night. And other people can charge as well. It says they just charge $20 for anybody else. So it's super cute, Delagonia Square town. And let me show you the chargers real quick. All right, so off the street down this private driveway are the 2 chargers. There's 2 8-kilowatt Tesla chargers, and they fill us up just fine overnight. And also one called Enviro Park. I've never heard of it. I don't know anything about it, but right here. So they welcome people to use them as long as you chip in some extra money. It's free for hotel guests. So that's it. It's a great place, and it was vital for our trip over here near Dawsonville, Georgia, and on the way to New Smyrna. Have you guys? Bye.
Hello, Zach and Jesse. Just over here at the Toyota dealership, right there. Heard about the review up here in Stafford of the new Tesla Superchargers. So I walked across the street, found them right there behind me. 8 of them now in operation, as you can see. So let's start out with the basics. Holiday Inn Express is right there. Got a Comfort Inn over there across the street. BB&T right there. The back of the Wawa store up here off of Garrisonville, right on the corner of Garrisonville and 95. So we're talking exit 143. Across Garrisonville at Stafford Marketplace, you have Bob Evans, Applebee's, Chili's, Buffalo Wild Wings, Target, Lowe's. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff up here. There is a light to get across, but it's a very dangerous road to cross, just to let you know. But hey, Supercharger reviews. Right there's 8 of them, newly installed. While I wait on my RAV. So have fun, guys. Thank you very much. There's a lot to do out here. So I guess in all localities, might give it a 8 out of 10 maybe.
Thank you so much for doing Supercharger reviews. It's so nice to have a community that is putting together a living document of all of the superchargers in the world and like what you think of them and whether you should stop at this one or that one, because now we have choices because there's new superchargers in the world all the time. There's new superchargers this week. Let's talk about them.
All right. What do we got first?
Number 26 in Massachusetts is the 8-stall version 3 in Charlton, westbound Massachusetts.
I'm probably going to go visit that this week.
Yeah.
We got the 8-stall 250 kilowatt in Bartonsville, Pennsylvania.
Number 16 in Minnesota is the 8-stall version 3 in Carlton, Minnesota.
Number 5 in North Dakota is the 8-stall version 3 in Grand Forks, North Dakota.
The 3-stall version 3 in VWalk in Hong Kong.
Number 10 in South Carolina is the 8-stall version 3 in Yamasee, South Carolina.
Number 26 in Michigan is the 8-stall version 3 in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan.
Number 36 in Hong Kong is the 3-stall version 3 in Qingming, Hong Kong.
Number 29 in Georgia, the 12-stall version 3 in Cordell, Georgia.
Number 82 in the UK is the 3-stall version 3 in Camborne, UK.
Number 51 in Sweden, the 8-stall version 3 in Vetlanda, Sweden.
Number 38 in Spain is the 4-stall version 3 in El Ejido, Spain.
Number 30 in Taiwan, 2,912 in the world, is the 2-stall version 3 in Hsinchu, Nanya, Taiwan, which has limited hours.
All right, and it's time for our Patreon giveaway. And if you want to get into this big basket of fun, you join us on Patreon. The more you support us, the more chances you have to win. We're going to give away a $30 gift card to EcoWare. So who's our winner?
The winner is Dwight R. Torholm.
Congratulations, Dwight. You won yourself whatever you want on EcoWare. And that is where we carbon offset the production, the life cycle, and the shipping of your product. We plant 10 trees for every product. We cap a well. And if you don't want to buy like a t-shirt and you're like, I wish I could get some honey, you can get some honey.
Yeah. Our buddy Bill in Wisconsin harvests honey. You can get honey from our website from this awesome community. We also have mugs from our buddy Randy Shute. He's got a mug, this 4680 Cyber Dad mug, which you can, it's a
4680.
It looks like a 4680, heavily inspired by. So you could be drinking coffee out of that to
and add
power
some
yourself up.
Honey to it.
Add some honey to the herbal tea, because you're not going to be putting it's.
I'm going to pat you on the back. It's been 5 years.
I'm going to pat you on the back. It's been five whole years.
Huh? You want to do another 5? You good? You good?
I'll do another 1, maybe. No, I think we could do another 5.
You think so?
With our Patreon support, I think anything is possible. So I want to really thank our patrons for making this possible, because it would not be possible. I also want to remind everybody that next week, Tesla Time News is coming out on Tuesday.
That's right. So reset your clocks. It's kind of like, fall back, spring ahead, spring back,
24
fall ahead,
hours of jet
goes.
lag is a heck of a thing. Actually, it doesn't feel like anything.
Right.
It's like going around the world.
You had some jet lag this week.
That
3 hours just threw you off.
I was so jet lagged. I was like in California time. Then I don't know what happened. I think I was in like Mauritius time. Now I think I'm somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic, because I've been waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, yeah, so that would point out to, that's a weird time.
Middle of the Atlantic. So it's been cool, because I've been waking up really early.
Going for e-bike rides.
I went on a 16-mile e-bike ride this morning.
That's awesome. You're full of energy.
Rock. Yeah, I'm full of energy because it's an e-bike. Otherwise, I'd be like, hi, everyone. E-bikes, if you haven't checked out an e-bike, go over to the Now Let's Review channel.
Yeah, we've got our new set over there.
Yeah.
So some new videos are going to come out on our new set. So it's really exciting.
You can go see me and Ethan on there. We're looking at a bunch of new e-bikes that we just got in. I love pretty much every e-bike, but we're going through all the little nitty-gritty details, because you're going to want to pick the e-bike that you like the best.
Right.
So head over to the Now Let's Review channel. It's another channel that we run that you'll like. We also have, if you're curious, you also have the Now You Know Clips channel. We also have the Disruptive Investing channel.
Yep.
Electric Performance channel.
Yep.
Busy people.
Yeah.
5 years on YouTube, and what is that? 5 channels?
5 channels.
I can count. Anyway, we will see you next week on Tuesday.
Now you know.